Halle Bailey's supposed forgiveness of DDG isn't what you think. While the internet is busy debating shocking abuse allegations, Halle is playing chess, not checkers. Her olive branch isn't about forgetting. It's a calculated move for their son, Halo. We're breaking down what this strategic forgiveness really means for their family's future and the ongoing legal battle. This isn't just celebrity drama. It's about a mother navigating an impossible situation where peace for her child is the ultimate prize. If you want to understand the real story behind the headlines, stay tuned. And make sure you subscribe, because this story is far from over. To get the weight of Halle's choice, you first have to understand the chaos that came before it. This wasn't a simple breakup. It was a public implosion that spiraled into a serious legal war. It all started so differently. For nearly 2 years, Halle Bailey and DDG, whose real name is Daryl Granberry Jr., seemed like a modern fairy tale. They were young, successful, and in love. They welcomed their son Halo toward the end of 2023, and even when they announced their split in October 2024, the message was one of unity. DDG said they would remain best friends and raise their son together. They were even seen smiling together at Halo's first birthday party, a public performance of peaceful co-parenting. But behind the filtered posts, a storm was brewing. The fairy tale shattered in May 2025, when Halle secured a temporary domestic violence restraining order against DDG. The court filings were brutal. According to documents reviewed by multiple outlets, Halle accused DDG of a pattern of physical and verbal abuse. She detailed a violent incident from January 2025, claiming an argument escalated to DDG grabbing her by the hair and slamming her face into a car's steering wheel, allegedly chipping her tooth and leaving bruises. She even submitted photos of her injuries as evidence. In her declaration, she stated, "Throughout our relationship and continuing to date, Daryl has been and continues to be physically, verbally, emotionally, and financially abusive towards me. I cannot allow this abuse any longer. I cannot keep living like this." The court took her claims very seriously. A judge granted the temporary restraining order, requiring DDG to stay 100 yards away from both Halle and Halo. The order also barred him from posting about Halle or their son online, a direct response to her claims that DDG used his huge online platform to badmouth her and incite his fans. The court granted Halle temporary sole physical and legal custody of Halo, and his visits with his son were to be supervised by a professional monitor, a strict measure signaling the court's concern. DDG didn't stay silent for long. He fired back with his own legal filings, painting a completely different picture. In a bid to get his own restraining order against her, which was ultimately denied, DDG claimed Halle was an imminent emotional and psychological risk to their son. His filings included shocking allegations of his own, accusing Halle of repeated threats of self-harm and acting irrationally. He petitioned the court for sole custody and tried to block Halle from traveling internationally with Halo for a film shoot. The judge denied DDG's request, allowing Halle to travel for work, a decision that seemed to validate her position as the more stable parent in that moment. This is the war zone from which the idea of forgiveness emerged. Then, after months of brutal accusations and public humiliation, the narrative took a sharp, unexpected turn. Reports began to surface that Halle was extending an olive branch. Forgiveness. It's a word that seems completely out of place amidst allegations of chipped teeth and psychological warfare. After everything, why would she choose to forgive him? The public was confused. Forgiveness usually means wiping the slate clean, but in a situation this toxic, that seemed reckless. Was she taking him back? Were the allegations overblown? Was she giving up the fight? The answer is no. This wasn't about reconciliation. This was about something much bigger. This forgiveness wasn't an emotional surrender. It was a strategic pivot. It was Halle Bailey playing the long game for her son's future. The question isn't, why would she forgive him? The real question is, what does her forgiveness actually achieve? First things first, forgiveness in the context of co-parenting after abuse isn't about absolution. It's about de-escalation. Halle isn't saying, "What you did was okay." She's saying, "I will not let our conflict define our son's life." Think about the cost of their battle. In October 2025, DDG released a song titled 17 More Years, a direct reference to the time they have left as co-parents until Halo is an adult. In it, he raps, "I don't want to fight no more. Tired of the court dates, lawyers getting over on us, watching money go to waste." While it's a public plea that serves his own narrative, he's right about the cost. Constant litigation is draining, financially and emotionally. Choosing to forgive is a strategic move to take her power back. It's a way of declaring that she will no longer participate in the cycle of retaliation. By refusing to meet his fire with more fire, she starves the conflict of oxygen. This doesn't mean dropping her guard. The legal protections, like the restraining order that was recently extended to November 5, 2025, remain in place for a reason. The supervised visits remain for a reason. Forgiveness here is about creating a low-contact co-parenting relationship within the strict boundaries set by the court. It's a pragmatic acceptance that this man will be in her life for the next 17 years. And the most peaceful path forward for her and her son is one where she controls the emotional temperature. Every move in this legal chess game comes back to one person: Halo. For Halle, this isn't about her relationship with DDG anymore. It's about her son. Children raised in high-conflict environments suffer. By all accounts, Halle has positioned herself as her son's fierce protector. The court has already made its priority clear. At one point, a judge took the extraordinary step of banning both Halle and DDG from posting any photos or information about Halo on social media. This order tells you everything. The court saw the public nature of their dispute as a direct threat to their child's well-being. Halle's move toward a more peaceful arrangement aligns with the court's objective. By showing a willingness to create a stable environment, she's showing the court that she is the parent most attuned to her child's best interests. According to some reports, Halle privately reached out to DDG to stop the legal back and forth and work out a mutual arrangement. One source claimed she realized that continuing to fight in court was only adding more stress to everyone, especially their child. A parent willing to facilitate a safe relationship between their child and the other parent, even a difficult one, is acting in the child's best interest. This forgiveness is about a future where Halo can have both parents at a birthday party without tension. DDG even pleaded for this in his song, rapping, "We should all get together on his birthday. Light the cake." Halle's strategy ensures that while she protects her son from his father's alleged behavior with legal boundaries, she also protects her son's right to have a father. It's an incredibly difficult tightrope to walk, and she's walking it for Halo. Now, let's talk about the cold, hard legal reality. In family court, perception is everything. Halle's decision to forgive is a masterful legal calculation. Family court judges want to see which parent is more likely to foster a healthy relationship between the child and the other parent. A parent seen as cooperative and reasonable is almost always viewed more favorably than one perceived as obstructive or vengeful. By signaling a willingness to move forward, Halle positions herself as the cooperative parent. She's creating a record of prioritizing peace. Should they end up back in court? Her lawyer can point to this as evidence that she did everything possible to make co-parenting work. This move also neutralizes one of DDG's key arguments, that she is trying to keep his son from him. He has pushed this narrative publicly, including in an earlier song titled "Don't Take My Son." By extending an olive branch, Halle makes that argument much harder to sustain. She's essentially saying, "I am not stopping you from being a father. I am only insisting that you do it in a way that is safe for our child." It frames her not as an obstacle, but as a gatekeeper for their son's well-being. The legal framework is her shield. Her forgiveness is her sword. So what happens now? The path forward is paved with caution. The recent extension of the temporary restraining order to November 5, 2025 is key. Reports suggest this extension was agreed upon to give lawyers time to negotiate a written agreement. This signals a move away from courtroom brawls and toward private, legally binding resolutions. This agreement will likely codify everything: custody schedules, communication rules, and travel stipulations. Supervised visitation for DDG will likely continue until he can prove to the court he isn't a risk. The social media ban concerning Halo is also likely to become permanent. The goal is a long-term plan that minimizes conflict between the parents while maximizing stability for Halo. Communication will likely be restricted to court-approved apps designed for high-conflict co-parents, focusing only on logistics. However, peaceful doesn't mean the risks are gone. The underlying issues that led to the restraining order don't just disappear. The challenge for Halle will be maintaining firm boundaries while appearing cooperative. It's a delicate balance. This written agreement is their best hope for a stable truce, but a truce is not the same as peace. It's a heavily monitored ceasefire in a war that could reignite at any moment. Halle Bailey's forgiveness is a powerful and strategic move. It's not about letting DDG off the hook for the serious allegations against him. It's about taking control, de-escalating a toxic conflict, and making a calculated legal play to protect her son's future. She has separated the man from the father. While she uses legal walls to protect herself and her son from the man, she is cautiously building a heavily monitored bridge to the father, all for Halo. It is an act of strategic maternal protection disguised as forgiveness. But what do you think of her strategy? Is this forgiveness a sign of strength and brilliant calculation, or is it a risky move? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to keep up with this case, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what comes next.